What's a bad game? A hard question because a bad game can also be a good game for some people. I looked at Metacritic to see what are the worst rated games on the PlayStation 3 and picked the 10 worst ones that also got a retail release. So sorry for people who expected Girl Fight to show up. Sadly it was digital only. You can't trust a gaming journalist, you can't trust the usual gaming influencer, you can't trust the YouTube essay dudes, and you can't trust me either. The only one you can trust is yourself, most of the time. If you like something, you like it. If you don't, then you don't. So let's see if I actually like some of these games. Larry is a loser, a manlet loser even, so he should be really relatable to me, but he isn't. I played this game once before, so I was totally lost on where to go, and even the objective screen didn't tell me anything. How nice of it. I wish I also did not have any objectives in life. So I just did some racing. In comparison to most other Larry games, it's this 3D kind of platformer because it really puts its focus onto the jumping and running instead of solving puzzles like in the point and click games. There's some puzzles and minigames in these stages, but it's just not really fun or funny either, which is the whole point. Larry is supposed to be a somewhat sleazy guy who is at least funny enough to attract women. This Larry in this game has none of that, except the sleazy part. He's unfunny as hell, so another relatable point. So you go around the movie sets like the Wild West, and after that I also quit the game, so I don't know what else it really has to offer except that he dresses up as Michael Jackson at one point. The main part of the game is to get laid, but who would want to get laid with something like this? Actually, I think I would be desperate enough for this. Even the models in the PlayStation 2 game look better than this, at least to me back in the day. I was young and big boobs make you think wow. And I have a thing for cowboy girls, so don't judge me please. Or at least don't judge me too harshly. It just has no redeeming features if the part you want to see has nothing you want to see. It's like playing a dating game but all the girls are unattractive to you. Even if it has amazing writing, what's the point then if I don't want to date the girls? I play dating games to date, but if I don't want to date, then I don't play them. I don't know if I'm a broken person or something, but from what I have played of RAMBO, the video game, it does not deserve a score of only 23 points. Maybe it's because I have never watched the movies, so my view of them can't be destroyed through a fairly generic on-rails shooter. Since that's what RAMBO is, I was interested to see what made it so bad apparently, and most sites were like, yep, that's an outdated concept, give us a real game where I have total control and that's just stupid as hell. But what do we expect from a site like IGN anyways? Is it a great game? Well, not really, but if I had an actual light gun to play it with or at an arcade, I could imagine it being pretty damn fun. You shoot the baddies, but are they really bad people? Aren't they just protecting their home and the whole Vietnam War was a lie? The government sending tons of American people to their own demise, in return for nothing, which can be said for any war that involves America on foreign soil, not called a world war. Now I got way too political, but this game taught me that's what Rambo is kinda about too. I always just thought it's about Rambo going Rambo, but he's quite a broken man. Also, apparently Rambo really hates being shaved. I don't personally would let someone else shave me either, but damn, no need to turn someone infertile because of it. I can't even let someone shave me since I have zero beard growth. There's just nothing growing in my face. Maybe if I actually watched Arnie and Sylvester Stallone movies back in the day, I would have grown up to be a more manly man, but instead I watched stuff like Pokemon and Cardcaptor Sakura. I missed out. Then the game just lets you kill cops while kinda telling you to disarm them instead, but that's lame. I wanna shoot people, not just shoot their weapons away. It doesn't matter if they're cops, it doesn't matter if they're civilians, I wanna shoot. And the game is not really totally made to aim that carefully anyways. If this came out on the Wii, I think that would have been way better. An on-rail shooter like this with a normal controller just doesn't feel right. You could use your PlayStation Move controller if you have one, but I don't think that would fix it. I think that would most likely make things worse. I unironically love it when games insult you for wanting to pick the lowest difficulty in it, because even if I would be a pussy, what about it? Is your ego that low that a game making fun of you would make you actually hate the game? I saw what happened with Wolfenstein, I say it the German way since I'm German, and it makes me laugh when people really complain about things like that. Only real men with a high T count can play this, otherwise your console would just shut off. Which proves that I can be quite manly. Not as manly as the main guy who is based on a real Navy SEAL apparently. I don't think America actually does secret missions in North Korea though, so I'm not sure if that really matters. I hope he won't see this and assassinate me in my sleep tonight. House of the Dead Overkill may have had the record for the most usage of the word fuck back in the day, and maybe it has been broken since then, but I think World Warrior is also probably in the top 5 of games that use the word fuck or fucking the most. You will hear it constantly. The main character uses it in pretty much every single sentence with such low audio quality, and the voice actor doesn't even feel like he really wants to say it either.
It's a total goat fuck. Goddamn KPA were waiting for us.
If you really hated this console generation, this is most likely the game you want to show to people when they ask why. Just an uninspired third-person shooter that's really damn brown and not very colorful at times. But you can roleplay as a short person in it, so I felt at home. The game doesn't teach you that you have to press the one button after getting out of the cover, or else you just stay crouched, which doesn't even feel different. It feels just as if you're walking normally. I love that since I'm 5'2", so I just continue to play it like this. Finally a game that lets you try to be manly as a manlet. Other shooters have tall men, here you can be short if you want to be and see life how I see it. Please don't put the cookie jar too far up. It's a serviceable game that you can at least laugh at with how campy it is, and it's not like it totally sucks. It works, and the performance in comparison to some of the other games you will see today is actually amazingly fluid. Some of those games made me happy my capture card can only capture 30 FPS, because what's the point of capturing more if the game's run in less frames than Ocarina of Time? I kinda wanted to play more of it, just to see what kind of sentence the guy will say next. It will involve a fuck for sure. Normally you would be seeing Vampire Rain here, but that game always crashed on the installation screen at 5% after trying it 3 times, and every time I thought it's gonna break my PlayStation 3. So you can't say I didn't try, I risked my life here. I have not seen any of the movies, and people who have seen a couple of my videos should already be used to me saying that by now. Whenever a game appears that's an adaptation from something that is an anime, or manga, or books, I'm the proof that reading doesn't make you smarter. I guess I'm just not much of a movie and TV show type of guy, but maybe that will change one day. But this seemed like a fairly okay game for the young ones who love those movies. You do Kung Fu with the Panda. It doesn't lie about that. Sure, you fight the same enemies, but I guess the wolves were the bad guys in the movie too, so it just makes sense. Do you think a kid cares about repetition when it comes to the enemies? They will just smash the buttons regardless of who they fight against. Maybe it even changes depending on which master you pick, since there's 3 to choose from, and since crocodiles are cool, I picked the Crocodog. I loved that game as a kid. It runs like shit though. Obviously you would have no fun playing this as an adult. It's the perfect game though if you had kids or had to babysit kids and wanted to take a break. Just hand them this game and they will be busy for a bit without annoying you. I surely would be a great dad. This might really be the worst game from all the ones I've played on the PlayStation 3. You're some kind of powerful bald mage who was imprisoned and you get freed by a woman that immediately calls you her lord when you're mean to her. If you want to be kinda mean. That's the only positive thing I can say about the game, that it allows you to be an asshole because you can pick tons of different dialogue options. Like telling someone to beg for their life instead of just killing them without it first. The rest of the game, you suck out magic out of rocks and shoot the magic, that's it. The only award I would ever be able to give to this game is the award of the ugliest UI in a PlayStation 3 game probably. I can't even think of anything funny to say about it. It commits the worst sin a bad game can do, a game so boringly bad, it is just straight up bad instead of being so bad that it's funny. When I think of Gundam, I think of anime, but there is no anime to be found here. It feels like a game that was supposed to attract Western people because it's gritty and dark. No anime portrays because get that kiddie shit out of here. They allow you to play as the bad guys though, and since I'm bad and evil, I picked that one. I'm not really into mecha games, so my opinion here is kinda useless, but it just didn't felt like fun. Sure, I don't think this bulky looking Gundam should move in a super duper fluid way, but it should move in a fun way, which it kinda doesn't. So in the first mission I just easily smash everything to pieces, but then in the second mission I basically get immediately blown up. At least I like the look of the menus, pretty slick. I'm not even sure if fans would like it since don't you want to see your favorite Gundam pilots and stuff? I looked at a long play and they don't really show up at any point, and the variety of Gundams also didn't look too big. Maybe the game sucks, maybe I suck, maybe both statements are true. Normally there would be kick-ass the game here, but I already got the Platinum trophy in that game since it's really easy to get and I didn't want to play it again. It's a bad brawler game, but at least the enemies sometimes call you a gay slur, and if that kind of thing turns you on, then maybe it's worth risking a look into it. Just a little warning, but I have not watched the show, so all I know about the show is that it has the Death Stranding guy in it, and one guy from it was in Tekken. In a way that means the demons are actually real in the world of The Walking Dead, and somehow also Smash then. I expected a game that's so bad that it's funny, since you often see videos that made fun of this game and people saying it's extremely broken, but I didn't encounter anything like that and instead got an okay zombie game for what I've played so far. It even has some pretty decent ideas with how you can choose different options on how to spend your fuel. Wanna just go straight to a town? Sure, can do. But you can also pick different paths to loot some places and find stuff. The thing that's the most disappointing is the amount of zombies on the screen. It's clearly not a Left 4 Dead kind of game, but for example here I had to pump gas for my truck and it attracted the horde. What horde, you might ask? Yep, that's what I was thinking myself too. There just isn't any real tension here. Maybe that changes later in the game, but probably not, since the game already runs fairly badly and I don't want to see how it would run with like 50 zombies on screen. The game also has this stupid sweat effect on the screen when you ran a bit too much. It looks more like I fell into a puddle. Not sure how you could make sweat look different from water, since it's the same thing, but still. Maybe don't put it into the game at all. I don't know why I am so nitpicky about this point. Sometimes things just make you hate them even if there's no need for hate in our hearts, and we should leave that space for love instead. I was disappointed at how underwhelmingly not so bad it was. Maybe it gets super repetitive, but even then I don't see it becoming that bad. Maybe I just don't have it in me to totally shit on something, since I can find enjoyment in most of these games. Another Vietnam shooter. Sometimes I wish I would have learned about stuff like that in history class, but since I am German, the only wars I ever really learned about were the two world wars, and while those were interesting too, it just became boring at a point. Here's my hot take on the topic of war. War is bad. There you go, I saved you 6 years of history class in one sentence. I wish I could have learned more about dinosaurs or different time eras instead. The game is just a standard FPS that's really not doing anything special, at least from what I've played. It's also pretty damn dark, not because of its story and war crimes, but look at this. The most positive thing I can say about it is that the gore is pretty neat. I hope that doesn't make me sound like a psychopath or that I'm too edgy. Shooting someone's head and not just seeing it getting blasted off and instead having parts of its face just looking a bit like a good spaghetti bolognese is more satisfying. A game about Native Americans and Americans fighting a war and the main character falling in love with the enemy, but then his wifey probably dies and he wants revenge. Another game that also insults you for picking the easy difficulty. I love it. The shooting really doesn't feel great, and that's the most important part of a shooter, even in third person. There's just no real oomph behind the weapons, at least in the first level, but I have to say I was surprised at how parkour-like the game was like. You don't just go from cover to cover, since you can't even really take cover like in most third-person shooters around that time, since everyone wanted to be Gears of War. The cool thing is that you actually get to do wall jumps and have to do other jumpy things like jumping. Lots of climbing, so while the shooting feels bad, they actually kinda made a fun jumpy game. So it had potential to be a fun game if the main part wouldn't feel aimlessly. None of the weapons make you feel like you want to shoot them, and that's the most important part. Normally I would say it does not deserve such a low rating, but the PlayStation 3 version of it may really deserve that. It begs the question of, is it really worth it to port a game sometimes? I mean, you can see it for yourself. I could not say a single word about its graphics and performance, and you would see why I think this way. Piranha Bytes were some of Germany's finest developers once upon a time, and sadly they never managed to ever get truly close to their masterpiece Gothic 2 again, and got shut down recently. It's not like all the games that followed were bad, but they set the bar too high. Gothic 3 was basically Germany's Cyberpunk 2077. It was full of bugs at release and took ages to be fixed, and now it's an okay game. Risen 1 gave people hope again. The second game is kinda 50-50 kind of game, where one half says it's amazing and the other half says it's a bad game, and the third one is mostly seen as really bad. Lame combat, lame story, and on the PS3 version it's bugged to hell. Not like the PC version was free from those, but the console version is apparently even worse. I didn't encounter any, but if you just Google Risen 3 PS3 version bugs, you can find tons of people that got screwed over by the game, just making it impossible to beat. Now your brain might wonder, wait, that were 10 games already. Yeah, you're lucky I can't count, so I played this game too and didn't want it go to waste. So maybe this can be called reverse clickbait. I'm saying I played the 10 worst games, but actually it was 11 games. But 10 looks better in the title, so I was lying to you the whole time. Sorry about that. It's a game that focuses on the battle in the Pacific from World War II, and I think that's an interesting thing to do. It's one of the more unexplored parts of it, I think, even in history class here in Germany. Maybe Americans learn more about this since it's mostly America versus Japan, and Germany didn't even do anything in the East really, if you're talking about the East that goes past Russia. Sadly, the game is just boring. Like in the first mission, you fight off the Japanese jumping into your trenches and there's things exploding here and there, planes flying above you sometimes, but it really doesn't give you the rush you want when playing a war game. Because for me, a game like this is mostly about fun and the thrill. Oh no, a game makes war look like fun, the horror. Oh no, I blew up a whole city with an atomic bomb. And now my character feels bad about it. I sure got taught my lesson that you shouldn't drop bombs onto cities. Thanks for teaching me that game, I will remove it from my bucket list. If you actually sign up for the military because you play video games, you kinda do deserve what can happen to you in war. Also, you have to collect radio stuff and I had to do it twice because I threw a grenade and suddenly game over. Why? There were no teammates that I accidentally killed and the grenade didn't come bouncing back either. I don't know what happened here. But it scared me to actually shoot more because your commander dude is running from the left to the right to the left to the right and doesn't care that he's in your view. Bro, just stay behind me or something. I don't want to shoot you and fail the mission again if that's even possible. I think he kinda already lost his marbles, look at him. Same with the anime AI, just watching into you and doing nothing at all. Maybe that's their strategy. Before each mission, they show you some footage of what you're about to experience, and I would rather just watch the full documentary than playing this. If you want to fight the Japanese, just go play World at War instead. That game actually gives you a thrill when you play it. So yeah, those were the 11 worst games supposedly accordingly to Metacritic on the PS3, and I have to say, some of these weren't too bad. Would I ever willingly play them by myself if I wouldn't play them for a video or on a stream? Not really, and I would have been mad if I bought some of these at full price. Luckily nobody did that, right? I sure hope nobody pre-orders games without truly knowing what they're actually ordering. With that said, I hope you enjoyed the video and will have a good day, a good night or whatever fits your time zone. I now have to recover from playing bad games and will play some good games instead. Probably, hopefully. Maybe I will just go to bed and sleep a long time. Bye bye.